Welcome to the show. If you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mac Show. And this is a place where you are going to learn how to reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and your personal life on your terms. Today, we have a very special guest, Lady Jen Du Plessis. She is affectionately known as the Scaling Architect and is the leading expert in creating world class teams after spending over 4 decades as a veteran in the financial services industry. She is an award winning international speaker, author of over 20 number one Amazon best-selling books, host to 2 top-ranking podcasts, and is the producer and host of her TV show, Tell Me I Can't, reaching over 350 million homes monthly on 185 streaming media networks. All right, welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I cannot wait to have a conversation with you. And I don't even know where we're going. So let's just have some fun doing it.
Yes. So I like to start off. This show actually originated from my best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And we have gone through so many situations in the last few years. So
Yeah.
I'd love to start off the show by asking if you could share with the audience about a time in your business or personal life when you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Well, I mean, gosh, at my age, I've experienced many. So it's just a matter of picking the right one, right? Choosing the right
Pick
one.
your favorite, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you a little bit about the pandemic, but I don't think that was as big as a previous one, but it did have an impact on me. So,
Hmm.
at that prior to the pandemic, I was doing random acts of marketing online. My team was telling me, "Hey, look, you got to do more posts. You have to do more video." And yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And I was always traveling, and so when I got on the plane and it was delayed, I thought, "Oh, I guess I should do a video." So I would just do a video, and then when the pandemic came up, I thought, oh boy, I'm in trouble because my entire, not my all my livelihood, but a big chunk of my livelihood is made up of me speaking on stages, which have now gone bye-bye. So how am I going to get the attention of streaming and webinars? And of course, as coaches and speakers, we've done webinars forever, but oh my gosh, how am I going to get the attention? Because I didn't have that bandwidth and still don't. And that's okay. I've learned that I need to focus my attention intentionally to where I want my avatar to be, where my avatar is. And I don't need to be everywhere all at the same time. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble.
Mhm.
And it turned out that I wasn't, but I had to. I love that you said put your bootstraps on, because I was just about ready to say that. It's like I had to put my bootstraps on and go, okay, wait a minute. I do these 3-day events. There's no reason why I can't do them on video. I can do this.
Mhm.
I'm used to being on video. It's no problem. I've been podcasting for 12 years, no problem. And it was unbelievably successful. And I was like, wow, I'm on to something, except I realized everybody was onto it.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes.
But I would say that is just a scary time for me. It's the unknown,
Mhm.
it was truly the unknown.
Right.
Um, but it wasn't like rock bottom,
Mhm.
it was just scary.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely such a shift, and so many blessings came out of it. I love being able to travel and work from home or wherever I am at
Yeah.
the moment, and so that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't do a lot of speaking events anymore, but when I do, it has to make sense
Yeah.
financially.
Yeah.
And so it's so much better that way for me at this point in my life. I love it. And then I have small events and I have 2 incredible places that I live in California and Vegas. So I go between the 2 and I let people come visit me
Right.
instead of
Right,
trying.
and that's exactly it. And although I tell you what, I've tried to implement that in Virginia, but I don't know why nobody wants to come to the East Coast of Virginia. We're always going West Coast, and I'm going, hey, you people, you need to come out this way.
Yeah.
Because I'm right by Washington, D.C., and it's absolutely gorgeous. But so I travel down to Florida, usually is where I do my events.
Mhm.
Because it's a quick flight and everybody wants to go there. But I love hearing what you're saying, especially on the speaking side. So for those of you that are listening, no matter what you're doing, right, in your business, you're networking, you're speaking on stage, you're presenting. I have a little phrase called "No more FOMO, only promo."
Yeah.
right? And where I've stopped going for fear of missing out and going only if I'm going to be speaking or only if the audience is my perfect avatar or perfect partner for
Mhm.
my avatar.
Yeah.
And it's really reduced the amount of travel that I do for the fear of that missing out.
Mhm. Yes, it makes sense, and, just guarding your time. I Today's my birthday, so I'm like, I guard my time, and
Yeah.
I wanna be able to give to the people that I can serve the best, and so that is maybe saying no a little bit more often
Yeah.
than not, whereas maybe 15, 20 years ago, I was just like, "Yes."
The yes girl. The
Yeah,
yes woman. Yeah.
I
Yeah, that
traveled
was one
the
of my
world.
years. That
Yes,
was one of my years. So you know how you have like a theme for the year? That was
yes.
I'm not going to be a yes woman this year. I'm not going to be a yes woman. That was my theme a couple of years ago. Yeah.
I love that, I love
Yeah.
that. You have something about also creating teams that was mentioned.
Mhm.
Tell me about that piece of
Yeah.
what you do.
Well, that actually stemmed from really where I feel I had the I don't feel like I've ever had a rock bottom in my whole career. I've been so fortunate, but I was working, 100 hours a week,
Uh,
80 hours a week, the traditional everybody thinks they need to work really long hours and working
mhm,
those long hours and I was at the time I was in the mortgage business. I was in the mortgage business for 35 years, but I was in the mortgage business and I was in the top 1% of 785,000 loan officers, which means I'm in the top 75,000, right?
mhm,
But working these unbelievable hours doing closing funding $50 million worth of loans and it put me in that top 1%. And one night I was at dinner, in quotes, if you're not listening or watching this, but so-called dinner with my
mhm.
family. And I got that phone call. And just like every other entrepreneur, we feel like we have to jump, be everybody's beck and call person, and take the phone call for the client. So I took the call and I went outside and I started walking what I call the concrete balance beam, right? You're just walking back and forth on the curb.
Yeah,
And I was even opening doors for people. I'm like, hey, come on in. I'm on the phone with my client. Oh, look at me. I'm so great. Right. Look at, oh, I'm really helping. I'm working. Look at me going. And I had all the wrong reasons for doing that. Right. And it wasn't helping me, it wasn't helping my client because I really wasn't paying attention, it wasn't helping my family because I was poo-pooing them away again. And I happened to look over into the window of the restaurant and they were laughing and they were shooting little spitballs through straws and giggling and just having a wonderful time and creating all these beautiful memories that I was never in and I was again not in for this.
mhm,
And that was the moment where I'd had enough. And I
mhm.
thought, okay, I'm done. I'm done. All I want to do is figure out how can I work 40 hours a week and still do $50 million a year.
Yeah,
That was my goal. And
makes sense.
so the next 3 years I set out to do that. And I didn't have the right formula. There were pieces of the right formula with every mentor, with every person I spoke to, but it wasn't the right formula for me.
Mm,
And I found that there wasn't a formula,
mm,
to help people. It was just so segmented. And what happened was that I got a plaque in the mail one day at work that said, congratulations, you're in the top 200 loan officers in the country,
wow.
which is now the top 0.003%. And I was only working 4 days a week.
Nice.
Cracked the code,
Wow.
but I didn't know I was heading there. And my volume was now $102 million a year. And so anyway, that was probably the biggest thing. And what came from that was that I can't do it alone. And
Mm,
it's one of the things I talk about all the time when I'm on stages is, this thought that we're just going to work longer, harder hours, and that's what's going to happen. And it isn't. We can't do it alone. We have got to get the chips off our shoulder that make us think that we can do everything. And when I started, and I had a lot of management experience. So when I started going into this, I realized, wow, this is working. I have to stop working in and on my business. Everybody does that. And I
right.
have to now start living above and beyond my business. And
Mhm.
going above is getting past that one assistant.
Yeah.
virtual or in person, it doesn't matter, but getting past that one assistant and changing the mindset that says, wait a minute, every person I hire gives me more productivity to do what I want to do in my life. And it's
Mhm.
the transformation from your career to your lifestyle. And I had and still do this beautiful, beautiful lifestyle that
Yeah,
allows for me to be able to get in, get my work done, and then go play. I call it work on purpose so you can play with passion.
I love
And it only happens by building teams, and you've got to build your leadership skill set in order to do that. It just isn't going to happen overnight.
Mhm. Yes, I love working with my teams, and I'm in a similar industry. So I work with Keller in Beverly
Mhm.
Hills, and I also lead some teams. I teach agents across the nation, some online classes, and then I have this show. So the teams are incredible. And in that industry, it's so good because we work together, which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
and and it's wonderful to have that and just getting things done where everybody has a life, because that's why we want to earn money, is to have a life, not just to work. And so
Yeah.
I love that. It's so wonderful. What advice would you have for maybe a smaller business owner or a
Mhm.
smaller group that maybe a single small owner that wants to do this, but right now with the economy, as interesting as it is, and the budgetary situations that most people are facing, what steps would you suggest somebody would take in order to actually start growing and buying back their time, basically?
Yeah. Well, I have another little saying that I use all the time in my coaching, which is be ready for when the when happens, because it's coming, right? The economy will change, the rates will go down. And this is not real estate or mortgage directive, it's everybody. Purse straps will be loosened, that type of thing. It will open up, and you need to be ready for when the when happens. A lot of times it's amazing to me. I have this meme that I show of a battery running out of battery. And what ends up happening as entrepreneurs is we have our noses to the grind so much that we get to this critical mass of, oh my gosh, I just need to hire somebody. So I'll just hire someone. Oh, I like you. Just come on in. We'll figure out a position for you. And that is the worst thing in the world. Or I hear mini me. I need a mini me. No, you don't. You
Mm,
need someone who will do the things you don't like to do. Don't hire a mini me, right?
right.
So it's getting your so with our phones, right? We freak out when we're at 19% and the thing turns red, right? It turns red and we're like,
Mhm.
we need who has something I can plug into. Yet as entrepreneurs, we allow ourselves to get down to zero and get our phones are turned off and we just have nothing left. And then we go, oh, I guess I should hire somebody.
Mhm.
So hire someone before you run out of battery. That's the biggest thing, is like know where your battery is. But the biggest thing, so I have my first book was called Launch: How to Take Your Business to New Heights. And I broke it out into three different categories, three sections: finder, minder, and grinder.
Mhm.
You're the finder in your business. You're the minder in your business. You're making sure everybody's happy and you're delivering, right? Your deliverables. And then you're grinding out all that other stuff, right?
Right.
And we all have to have all of those jobs when we first start, but it's time to start writing that down. Just put a piece of paper down and write Finder, Minder, Grinder in three columns. Every time you do something in Finder, write it down. Every time you do something in Minder, write it down in Grinder. And you're going to find that you spend most of your time in minding and grinding.
Mm, mhm.
And your job is to be the rainmaker. Your job is to be the CEO of the company and bring the business in. And yet you're trapped behind a desk. So we already know that that's the wrong place. So now, whatever list is longest, whichever takes longer time,
Yeah.
it now becomes your first hire. That's who you should hire. And
I
you have the job skills all laid out and the processes. I mean, every process that you can think of,
mm,
everything that you have, it's your SOPs have got to be written down. This is be ready for when the when happens,
mhm.
because it'll prevent you from hiring because it's all here and not written down or digital. And so you've got to write it all down. It's easier to hire people that way. So once the list is the longest list, now you start writing the job description based on the things that are getting done in there. And now you seek that person rather than seeking a generic person to plop them into, I don't even know if you call it a generic job because you don't even have it written down.
Yes, very true. I love that. That's so helpful, and it makes a big difference when you're training as you go beforehand, when you prepare and
Mhm.
write the job description, I remember I would video record years ago. I had gift stores, like 5,000 square foot each, huge stores,
Mhm.
right? And so I had 200 employees, and it started with just 4 or 5 in the one store, and it grew, and so it was a lot of work, and I would just record everything with the this is so long ago, we had the camcorder, the
Yeah.
20 pound camera, and I would record because I was like, "I do not wanna, like, train somebody and train all these people over and over again," and really writing it down is good at the beginning,
Yeah.
but then I recorded because literally, we could have lunch, a lunch party for new hires and watch the video for your job description, and they would be happy with whatever we had for lunch, whatever, and they would know more than, shadowing someone else that's gonna tell them the wrong way or whatever, so it was wonderful, and it just made my life so easy. I even had it for the cleaning people at home.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you totally, and it's something that we talk about in coaching. You know, when we get to that, first we got to write it down, right, and then we need to start playing with it a little bit and seeing what adjustments we want to make, and saying, oh, I really don't do that next. I just did it next that time, and so we
Mhm.
have to look at the repetition in it, and that's why it takes some time to pull that together. But I love what you're saying because. We call it a video tutorial library. We have a video tutorial library for everything we do, and
Mhm.
not just once, maybe 4 or 5 times, because the habit is, okay, let me show, and I know this back from lending. I would say, hey, look, let me show you how to lock in a loan. It takes 2 minutes. And
Uh-huh.
then 3 hours later, we've gone down 70 different rabbit holes. They're confused. And guess who gets to go home at 5 o'clock? Not you.
Right?
Now you're like, oh, I don't want to hire anybody because it's too much work. Now I'm even working longer, right? And so these are some of the challenges that people have when they hire. It's just, again, when you're a great widget maker and you decide to have a widget making company, you have to get out of the practitioner mindset and get into the CEO mindset. That's all there is to it. And so I have a 50-10 rule. They get to watch me for 50 minutes, do my job,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then they can ask me questions for 10. And then
Mhm.
they can watch me for 50, and then they can ask me questions for 10, so that 50 minutes of the day I'm working and then asking questions, answering questions, right? I'm getting my work done so we can both leave at 5 o'clock if that's
Nice.
what I'm doing.
That makes sense. That's so good. Now, what do you think, with our market, you were in the mortgage industry a long time, and so
Mhm.
you've seen a few ups and downs. What's your thoughts on all this ups and downs in
You
our.
mean from the mortgage
Yeah,
perspective and not
yeah.
just generically? Yeah. This too shall pass. I've been through many, many, many of these, and I know this is a deep one. And
Mhm,
that's why I say, even as we head into winter, for those of us who are in the winter months, and we all are, no matter what, and because we're coming up to the holidays, I always tell everyone, and I did this last year, and here we are. I'm saying the same thing this year: is we cannot hibernate. We have to hyper focus.
mhm.
This is the time to be hyper focusing and getting ready for when happens.
Yeah,
And so often, one of the things that happens in my coaching is that I talk about multiple streams of income and not having one basket. And while I love Dave Ramsey for certain aspects of what he does, I love everybody. I love, Rich Dad Poor Dad for some things. I like Dave Ramsey for other things. But one of the things that I see that is a weakness in both the real estate and the mortgage markets is that this product that everyone is selling, mortgages, AKA homes, I can't tell you how many of I've been speaking and teaching and coaching real estate agents for over 30 years.
right.
And I will ask the question, how many of you own your own home? And, a whole bunch of hands go up. They're still renters, right? How many of you own a second home? And all these hands, oh, because I have the second home. But how many of you own a third, a fourth, a hundredth,
Right.
an 80th, a 500th home? And nobody. And
Mhm.
it's crazy. It's like a Mary Kay consultant coming up and saying, look, I want you to wear a Mary Kay. I don't wear any makeup, but you should. And it and when a client asks, is this a good time to buy? I hear everybody go, oh, yeah, it's a great time to buy. But then put the comma there and say, I'm not buying, but you should buy. So why aren't we buying our own product? Why aren't we setting ourselves up for doing that? Why aren't we creating multiple streams of income to get us through these times instead of having peaks and valleys. We have rolling hills,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, I've been yelling this from the mountaintops for the last probably 10, 15 years, and it still falls on deaf ears. And then here we are. So the hard reality is, if you haven't created these multiple streams of income, you need to start working something else to get you through this patch. In
Very.
addition to getting ready for when the win happens, rather than sitting and watching TV and soaking up all the negativity that's going on, push all that aside and say, by God, I'm going to be ready because this is never going to happen to me again. And
Yeah.
think about all the opportunity loss, right? The opportunity cost that is gone when you're not prepared when it hits.
Mhm.
There are tons and thousands and thousands of homeowners that have been orphaned by their realtor, that have been orphaned by their lender. There are thousands of real estate agents that have been orphaned by their real estate or their mortgage company, right? Because they went out of bit, or their mortgage lender, because they went out of business, they quit.
Yes. Yeah, I've been in the industry since I was 19, and I worked as a broker's assistant before I was even licensed as an assistant, and then I had my gift stores, these big stores. I bought the buildings. I
Yeah,
rented the first one,
there you go.
5,000 a month at 23 years old.
Yeah,
And then I said, "I don't like this paying rent stuff. This is, like, not cool."
yeah,
5,000 a month is like, "What?" And
yeah,
so I started buying the buildings, and I started coaching because I didn't even know I was a coach. I didn't know it was called coaching, but the other gift store
yeah,
owners were like, "Hey, honey," they were older than
yeah.
me, obviously, I was the young one, and they were like, "Hey, honey, how did you do that? Teach."
Yeah,
So I was their teacher. I thought I was a teacher, and not a I didn't even know the name, and I was helping them, and then I got my license because I was like, "Well, this is easy," and then that's what I teach agents. Let's buy our own property, 1031 exchange, get bigger properties over time, and then you can do whatever you want
yeah.
and do what you love. And so that's one of my I mean, you're preaching to the choir here
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that.
to you, I know. Well, and this is again one of the things with Dave Ramsey. He's like, pay off your house. And I'm going, no, leverage,
Mm,
leverage, 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 because the more cash I have in hand, the more opportunities I can go out and get.
right.
That's one thing. The second thing is he says to have an emergency basket. Well, the thing is, if you have multiple streams of income and you have passive income coming in, you
Mhm.
don't need an emergency basket.
Right. Yes, and
You just
passive
don't
income.
need it because it's coming in.
That's right, that's right. And I mean, this was an interesting time. COVID, gosh, I mean, I had properties that the tenants, they had the moratoriums in California. I didn't get rents for a while, but I had other things going on that also produced income. So then real estate was making a fortune. People were lining up to buy things when the interest rates were low.
Right,
So it
right.
all worked out. And, the properties are paid for. It's all good.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
was it was that was the most interesting time I've ever experienced as a landlady.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, think about it, and then, well, I don't know, the backside of it. What we did is we converted all of the properties that we had, a little over 100
Mhm,
properties. We converted as many as we could to Airbnb because that's where people wanted to get out of the city and they did want to travel. And there were restrictions with Airbnb, how you clean the house and all that, and we just abided by it.
mhm.
In fact, it's funny when they sent the list of what we have to do, I'm like, well, I already do all this and more because I'm German. Like,
Right, right.
houses have to be perfect. But anyway, yeah, I digress. But they, we converted as many as we could. And then for the properties that we own free and clear, we started offering those properties to people under land contracts and seller financing. And
Nice.
so now we had a different stream of income coming in during that time, and we have a different stream coming in now.
Mhm.
Slightly different. I'm shifting some of the buying that I'm doing now. In fact, I'm shifting to tax liens. That's what I'm buying is tax liens now.
Right.
And I've been doing, multifamily syndications for a while. So we've got a little over $400 million that we co-own, right,
Yeah.
in multifamily. But and then I've got affiliate relationships and JVs and you name it, wherever I can earn a little buck here and there, I've got multiple streams of income coming in because you just never know which one's going to pop at any one given moment. And that I think is the saddest thing that I'm hearing in the mortgage side and even for my coaching clients, right? Is, we talked about this. You didn't take action. And I
Yeah.
don't know what else to help you do, but I would just say, get ready, get prepared. You have this downtime. There's absolutely no excuse. Don't watch TV,
Mhm.
work on your business so that you later can be above and beyond.
That's right. That is incredible. I love that. And it's something that for those tuning in, even if you're starting out, even if you're starting from scratch, there's still a way. It might be a little bit more difficult, but it's being resourceful and creative, that is going to make such a difference. It really is. I had a bet with a friend. We both had like 35,000, and I ended up buying a prefab home up in it was Woolsey Canyon, up in California, and it was a prefab. It had a little bit of a land lease. I rented it Airbnb. I split it into 3 units. People had their honeymoon in this prefab home
Isn't that
I
funny? Yeah.
paid pennies for, and, I had that in Airbnb for 3.5 years, and then they changed the rules, and I could no longer do that. So I sold it for 285.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
35,000 that
Yeah, and
could
I
have
mean,
bought
you
a
either
car.
get your 285,
Yeah,
right? And you make it move someplace else, you keep it in
1031
flow.
exchange, exactly,
Right.
put
You
it into
keep it in
something else.
flow.
Yeah, that's it.
Or you sell it, if you own it free and clear, you sell it on a land contract and you get, six, seven, $800 a month, whatever it is, I mean, I have a property I bought for $9,400 in
Wow.
Thayer, Illinois, just south of Springfield. Never seen it, never been there, never been there. It's a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, nasty looking. It was it was a pocket foreclosure.
Mm,
It's a pocket
mhm.
foreclosure, and bought it for $9,400 and got $3,000 down as a down payment.
Wow.
Payments are 600 a month for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's my deal. And I made my money back in 18 months and I did nothing to it. Did nothing, absolutely nothing, nothing. I think we had to mow the lawn. That was it. We did absolutely nothing to it. And yeah, I mean, there's a thousand ways to skin a cat. And, as you're talking about, these multiple streams of income and, playing games with each other. I mean, combine your money with other people. If you
Mhm.
have colleagues, if you're saying, yeah, but I'm like, money's really tight for me right now and I don't want to tie it up, then go find somebody in your office, somebody that a colleague, and say, hey, how can we together, come in and create something that's bringing $200 a month for each of us in, something so that we have, a combination instead of being out there as a solo person, to saying, well, I guess I'm not going to have anything till I have 35,000 or 10,000 or $100,000 to invest. Combine your money. This is the time to be, looking at those different options that are available.
Now, would you be able to work how would that work, like, for those tuning in? They wanna combine their money and get a mortgage. How would that work as a mortgage lender?
Gosh, a lot of different ways. It depends on which kind of situation you're looking at, right? But you might start. There's a lot of different ways. You might start out by having a partnership and paying cash, and
Mhm.
then just splitting and having your partnership 50-50 or whatever the number is. Just start a partnership or start a partnership and pay cash.
Uh-huh.
You could just simply go to the lender and say, this guy's going to buy, put half down. I'm putting half down, and everybody's credit, everybody's income, everybody's debt gets looked at. And there you go. You can buy it. I'm telling you, there's a lot of kids that are doing that now because they can't afford these high priced homes. So they're buying them together as a group. There's
Mhm.
no limit on the number of people that can be on a note or a deed. There's absolutely no number. So you could have 30 people. That's crazy. The lender would not be happy, but you can, and we neither with the realtor, because then you have to run around and get everybody's signature. And everybody has to be happy with it. But yeah, you can just put a portion of it down. So if the down payment is 40,000 and if 4 people have 10, that works. And you just own 25% of the property. It's just a difference between, owning a property as a spouse with joint tenancy or
Mhm.
tenants by the entirety. And then joint tenancy is everybody owns 100%. This is tenancy in common. So you're dedicating the percentage of ownership that each person has based on the down payment that they put into the deal.
Right, right. That's
So and get ready for it. Again, start talking to people, start thinking about it, start getting pre-approvals so that you can be ready for when the win happens. And if
Mhm.
collectively you have enough cash to pay cash for a house, you're going to be, because I'm telling you, there's a big foreclosure swing coming through. I know it is.
Sure.
Big one, big one. It'll come around March, March, April.
Yes. Yes.
Taxes will be due.
And so, yeah, that's for sure. That's a thing that's gonna hit us, and so we hope for the best for everyone, and now is the time. Don't give up. Don't, like you said, don't watch TV. Don't take a break during the holidays if you've gotta get those bills paid. That's the way it is, but, look at these different options and start building. Now you'll wish you did it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start today. 3 months
Well,
before
and
it's down.
tax liens, for example, you can buy a tax lien for $100
Yes.
and get a guaranteed by the government return of anywhere from 9 to 30%, depending on the county, the state, whatever. And yeah, 30% on $100 is not much, but you can't get 30% on $100 in the bank.
Right, right.
Something's better than nothing. It's a way to get your toe in and start looking at tax liens. And it's a market that very, very few people understand.
Mhm, and once you get a few, I mean, I got a street that way once by mistake, but with a house. It came with the
Yeah,
house, and then I ended up with the street. I
that's
was I
awesome. Yeah.
think I was, like, 20 or something,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I said, "I own a whole street, it's pretty cool."
Yeah. Well, my husband bought in a tax lien, he bought a drainage, a
Oh,
concrete drainage ditch. I go, "Oh, that's nice.
yes, yeah.
What the heck did you do?" So we've had mistakes, there's no question about it. But buy and whole, they're fantastic. We just roll our money, constantly rolling our money from there and keep it segregated too. I mean,
Mm,
all of the contribution or the interest income or the contributions, in some things that we're investing in. But all of that comes back, all that income, it goes back into that compartmentalized bucket. So anything that's earned in tax liens comes back into tax liens so I can buy more tax liens.
mhm,
Anything that's in syndication comes back into syndication. So I can
mm,
do another syndication. Uh,
very.
and I found that that's better than saying, oh my gosh, and I have all this money. I'm going to go get a $900 car payment. That's ridiculous.
Oh, no, I couldn't imagine that, no. I always pay cash for the cars, even
Yeah,
if they're,
me too.
a couple miles on them. I mean, for a real estate agent, you don't want you're gonna drive it all over the place. You're gonna have so many
Yeah.
miles on it anyway, it doesn't really matter as long as it's
I
nice.
don't even think it's real estate agent. I haven't owned a new car I've been married 40 years and I don't think I've owned a new car in the last 35.
Yes, yeah, I get a great
Always used.
deal, always get a great deal, I get nice cars because as an agent, you want a nice car, but I don't need anything that's gonna
Yeah.
cost so much, it doesn't make any sense. I want things that are gonna cash flow,
Yeah.
so that's definitely it. Now I'd love to hear about, so your name, The Scaling Architect, could you tell me about maybe your programs and some of the coaching things that you offer, how that would look like for.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of different programs. I'm very picky about who I work with because I really only want to work with cool people. And I want to work with people that take action.
Mhm.
Excuses can be for, one of those programs that's $100 a month and you're one of thousands of people. I have a very boutique company. I don't take on more than 50 clients at any given time. I only have one client who is private coaching. It's very expensive to coach with me privately. I'm just going to say how it is. So everything else is group. It's a hybrid. You get group coaching and a little bit of private coaching here and there. And it just ranges. It ranges anywhere from $59.95. Well, I have a $197 program that is all online. You can get that. Right? But from there, it ranges from $5,995 all the way up to $29,997 plus $297 a month. And then I have my, private coaching. But my most favorite program is called LEAP.
Okay.
It stands for, I'm an acronym girl. I have 2 books on acronyms. It's funny. And they're called Impact, and that's an acronym. And all the chapters are acronyms too. LEAP is, honing in on your leadership skills, expanding your notoriety or your market influence, right? Amplifying your team, and then increasing profits. And
Mhm.
it's that way of doing that, because the only way for you to grow is for you to get more exposure out in the marketplace. We got to be careful we don't FOMO, right? But we want to make sure that we get more exposure out in the market so that you can be seen as the expert, so that you can attract new employees and clients, right? We want to attract and not chase. And so that's part of that. But then once they come in, you got to make sure that you're ready to be the leader that you've been saying, right? You need to be the leader in all pieces. And, and then that will amplify your team. And we work really hard on a lot of personality profiling, a lot of leadership skills, and tactics, that are around that, because you can't treat everybody the same. And, helping people build their job descriptions, and doing the finder, minder, grinder, and figuring it out, and so that program is a 6-month program, and that's the $59.95. And it's a 6-month program. We meet every single week to make sure everybody's on track. And then we end the program with a bonus down in Acapulco for a 6-day, I call it a 6-star luxury home. It's a 25,000 square foot home in Acapulco. With maid service and cooks. There's no sugar, there's no gluten, there's nothing. We have bartenders, we have butlers, we have the cook. Yeah, we just have everybody, and it's all self-contained. It's absolutely gorgeous. But those 4 days are implementation, making sure that every bow is tied, every piece of this is tied. And it's just a no-brainer. I mean, it for people, I just think it's a no-brainer. Is you're gonna 5x your investment in that 6 months.
Wow.
I guarantee it.
Wonderful. And where can people learn more about your programs?
Well, the best way to do that is to schedule a scaling meeting with me, right? Or a strategy, or just a discovery call. I call it a scale up meeting. But you could go to chatwithjen.com and just schedule time. I don't have anything online because I really want to make sure that I'm bringing the right people into the right programs. I have people that, for example, one of my students is she owns a roofing company, and she's, does 13 million a year, and her goal is to get to 20 million in 6 months. And I said, well, we're going to be able to do it. By the way, she works from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, and she's got 35 employees, and she's doing all this volume, but how come she's doing all the work? And so we're working, she just started working with me, and, I said, well, you can come to LEAP if you want. And she goes, yeah, just go write you check right now. What do you want? But the thing is, she needs so much more, right? And she said, I'm not going to get that out of this, because she's so far advanced in her business that she's better suited for one of the higher programs, so that she can have some more personal time with me, And so for me, it's really important for me to assess where everyone is, to make sure they're put in the right program, because I don't want someone leaving me and saying, that was stupid, I wasted my money, I didn't get anything out of it. So yeah, you're not going to find my programs really anywhere. I think I have a landing page for this program someplace, maybe. But it's more about me saying, hey, this is what I think would be good for you. So the best way to get in touch is just go to Chat with Jen, and I'm just a 1N Jen, chatwithjen.com. And then you can schedule a strategy call, and we can just talk about what are you looking for? Where are the gaps, and can I fill them? I want to make sure I can fill those gaps so we both have success.
Very nice. Wonderful. All right. And then I like to ask, if you could go back in time to, let's say, your high school age self, what one piece of advice would you give the younger you?
Is this personal or professional?
Whatever you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I was raised with a family. I'm one of 36 first cousins. We all have nicknames, every one of us. Mine was Jenny, who ain't got a penny. And so no one can call me Jenny. And I am a concealed weapons carrier, so don't call me Jenny. Go ahead, make my day. No, I don't like doing that. I don't like that. So, I had a lot of self-esteem, lack of confidence, self-worth issues, because my father he was an alcoholic, and my mom was a verbal abuser, and then exasperated by the fact of Jenny, who ain't got a penny, and we were poor and all that. And all of my uncles, I hung out with them because I was an only child. And so I hung out with them, and they are mega, mega, mega investors, multi millionaires. And I learned from them, but I didn't apply it because I didn't have the confidence. So if I could go back to, even Jennifer in high school, when I met my husband, I would have said, that, I am smart. And by the way, I am smart. I was going to be a cardiologist. I am smart, and I do know what I'm doing. And I, get, well, this is why my TV show is called Tell Me I Can. I would tell her, don't let anybody tell you you can't.
That's right.
Push them out of your way and say, watch what I do. But I wish I would have gained that sooner instead of trying to be a buffalo and kind of run with everybody. I wish I would have been in a position where I could say, you know what, I'm going the opposite way that they're going. And that's how I am now. I'm very disruptive when I'm talking about a lot of things like, hey, I don't have anything on my website. That's
Mm,
disruptive. I don't want to be letting a digital page sell me. I want to be talking to my clients and seeing if I'm a good fit for them. So I've learned that independence is what makes me so unique and so special to my clients, because I'm not going to tell them what they want to hear. I'm going to tell them what they need to hear.
mhm.
And I would just tell Jenny to have done that, because look how much further I could be along. I own, 3 or 4 businesses right now, and multiple properties, etc. How much further could I have been along if I had that confidence? If someone had just told me, just don't let them tell you anything. But instead, I was just circling the drain for years.
Oh, that's an important message to our younger selves and those
Mhm.
listening in every day. I mean, today's my birthday, so today's my younger self.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'll be a minute older, right?
Right.
So really, each day is a new opportunity. You can start with wherever you're at right now and make that choice. So
Yeah.
that is it. What a wonderful piece of advice. I love that. Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
again, for people to reach you, Jen, one more time, could you share where they could reach you?
Yeah, just go to chatwithjen.com and schedule a call. If you want to just follow me, I'm in Jen Du Plessis. Maybe you'll find me Lady Jen. There's some, platforms that won't let me change my name to Lady now that I'm a lady, but Lady Jen or Jen Du Plessis, I'm on all those platforms. And my website is jenduplessis.com.
Wonderful. Well, it was great to talk with you and
Oh,
learn more
thank
about all you're
you.
doing. Thank you so much again for being a guest on the
Oh,
show.
thank you so much. And happy birthday, by the way. And listen, we were talking in the green room, so everybody knows my birthday was 2 days ago. So we
Yeah,
realized this is why we like each other. We're both in that little category of Saggies.
that's it.
So congratulate. Do you ever have your birthday on Thanksgiving?
I did, the year I was born.
Oh,
You
okay.
too.
Yeah, I have it all. I think it's like every 3 years or something for me. It's on Thanksgiving. Yeah. And I'm like, no, no. My birthday cake is my birthday cake. Dessert for Thanksgiving is dessert for Thanksgiving.
I
No,
love
no,
it.
no. Where's my cake?
Yes, I love it
You don't
because
put
the
candles in a
family.
pumpkin pie. No, no.
Yes, yes, the family gets together. It's like the family time of year, so
Yeah.
nobody can forget. So it's like
Yes.
perfect for me. I've always loved that. So, all right. Well, thank you again. And for those
Thank
tuning
you.
in, we'll be back after these messages. All right, stay tuned.
Thank you.